Hi guys, and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Sunday the 7th of August 2022. Thanks for joining me. I want to use the Zilliq Tarot for today's reading. I don't know anything about this deck or who Zilliq is, but I do like these images. I like the watercolory, dreamlike, ethereal nature of them. And I want something that's kind of gentle and dreamlike for today's reading. But I also want to draw 6 cards to see what the opportunity of the day is all about. So let's do that, and I'm going to try and fit them into the screen. So we've got Death, Queen of Swords. Oh, I like that. Okay, so then we have the Four of Discs, Power, and the Knight of Discs. The Ace of Cups. Wow, the Lovers. Okay, so this is interesting. So the layout in itself, I've never used this, but because it's like 3 sets of 2, so we've got Death and the Queen of Swords together, the Four of Pentacles and the Knight of Discs, and the Ace of Cups and the Lovers. It seems like 3 themes are being discussed here, and they each lead to something else. Okay, so this is super interesting to me. The first thing here with Death and the Queen of Swords, the first message I got from that was you're able to stop being your own harshest critic and your own worst enemy. Because the Death card in the tarot is about being able to end something, or, you know, tapping into this natural stream of life. And the natural rhythm of life is that everything has a beginning and an ending. And the Death card is just basically saying we've got to that end point. And if you want to jump off, now's the time to do it. Something is completed, something has shifted in this cycle. And you're able to let go of this one and to jump onto something new. And the Queen of Swords is a court card that often gets a bad rap. She can be depicted as the evil queen, but the Queen of Swords is amazing at seeing a situation objectively, making sense of it, and being a reliable, you know, it's like having a judge you trust. It's this is someone who's intelligent, who's switched on, who's educated, who's fair-minded. If I know they're looking at this issue, they're in charge, I'm going to feel a lot calmer, because this is the exact type of person I would want to deal with those kinds of things. So the Queen of Swords is like a judge. She's someone who's able to see things very, very clearly and in a balanced way, and to make decisions which are going to affect the outcome while considering the greatest good. And it's someone who's able to look at very complex situations, weigh up all the different influences, and still manages to come to a decision. So on the downside, the Queen of Swords can be very critical and very heartless, and she can make these tough decisions that then have an impact in terms of the earthly circumstances or the feelings involved, or what this means for someone else's hope and dream. So one, I feel that if you're afraid of stepping into your own strength and making decisions for yourself because you feel like you're not going to be liked for it, or you're going to be seen as a negative, tough individual, and that's why you stop making decisions because of the image that comes along with it, that you can put to bed and say, do you know what? People will always find a reason to dislike me anyway, so I might as well stand in my power here. And the second thing is, if you are the one standing in your own way and you're criticizing and you're giving these harsh rules saying you can't do A, B, and C because of whatever faulty reason you've come up with, then you're able to let that die as such. So these 2 cards I'm seeing as they give you permission, or you give yourself permission, to finally step into your own power, to be the authentic you as you want it to be, as it genuinely is, and you stop pretending to be something you're not. And that theme has come up quite a lot lately. So it's your true power is revealed, because you're not playing this game anymore of maybe I should be this to get people to like me or whatever. It is what it is, and you're happy with that. Next, the Four of Discs is power. And the Four of Discs is usually a miser who's kind of hiding his money because he's afraid that someone's going to steal it. And here it kind of looks like some sort of statue, someone who looks almost eternal. And then he's got a tower sticking out of his head. So the thinking is just about security and structure and safety. It's all about, how do I maintain what is? And that may seem like a reasonable thing. I mean, that's why people pay into a pension plan. And because they want to have some security later on in life, right? It makes sense to plan ahead and to be concerned about your security. But the Four of Discs, it mentions that something's gone amiss here, because it's not just something you pay into for safety in future. You start to confuse these things you've done, these little efforts you've made to create more structure in your life. You've started to confuse those with your actual security, and you've become overly dependent on them, so that they start to run the way you think rather than the other way around. So initially it's something you did to make your life more comfortable, and now those things which were meant to create more comfort have just become another job and run your everyday experience. So it's a card that says some things become imbalanced and you're being controlled by something which really was meant to help and support. And then we've got the Knight of Discs. The Knight of Discs, again, is the solution to this problem, because the Knight is on the fence. It's extreme behavior in a practical, earthy way. They're both in the suit of discs here: money, your work, your career. And the Knight sometimes says, do you know what, to hell with all this. I'm going to throw it all up in the air and get a new job. Or I'm going to go live somewhere else. Or I'm not going to pay my pension into this pot anymore. I'm going to go with a different company. So the Knight is super helpful in this case, because the extreme willingness to explode things is required to exit this prison. So both cards are about changing the way you operate and no longer being governed by structures in your life that tell you who you are and the way you can be. So here, the Queen of Swords, embracing a type of person that I'm afraid of being, that goes out the window. You're no longer afraid. You're willing to be lots of different versions of a person so that you can be a fully rounded human being, and not every part of you has to be liked. You know, if you're like the world's most brilliant tax expert and you find new ways of taxing people, your employer is going to be happy with you and will think you're a genius because you're making them more money. But all the people who are being taxed aren't going to thank you for your endeavors. They're not going to say, oh, aren't you brilliant? You're costing us more. How wonderful of you. So, you know, ultimately you have certain gifts and talents. You don't know how they're going to affect everyone else. You don't know what the reasoning is behind it. But I don't feel that's your job to figure it out. I think it's just your job to use your talents, whether they are seen to be good or bad. Anyway, so this card allows you to break out of this perceived notion of yourself. These two allow you to break out of perceived prisons when it comes to your work or the way you live or how you live. And then finally, we've got this being all about love. The Ace of Cups is a gift from the universe that says you are loved. Love is all around you, and just be open to it. And the Lovers, not just be open to it, but love is available to you on a spiritual level. So if you connect deliberately, you meditate, you contemplate, you do mindfulness, you can tap into the love and actually feel it. If it's, there are people around you and there's someone who's looking for you right now. You know, your soulmate is out there looking for you the same way you're looking for your soulmate if you're both single. And it's just about getting in touch with the right frequency so the two of you kind of come together. And the Lovers card is about the actual meeting. So this is the universe setting the stage for the lovers to connect. Conception, and this is birth. So this is the stage being set, and the two players actually now bumping into each other and starting their amazing love affair. So the cards are saying that you don't have to be the person that you're forcing yourself to be. You don't have to live the way you feel you have to live. And there's a lot more love out there than you realize or than you can imagine. Wow. So the cards are saying to me that surrender your plans for your life and the details that you think are going to make you happy and that are going to be amazing. And instead, listen to the universe, which loves you unconditionally, and say, hey, how do you want me to live? What do you think would be best? And take that not only into advisement, but really consider it very carefully. And the universe isn't going to give you faulty info, right? So if you're getting something that then says, well, do A, B, and C, please actually try and follow those instructions, because they will put you in this frequency of love and abundance and a way of living that feels free and a self that feels amazing, that you're proud of. And you can look in the mirror and say, oh my God, aren't you amazing? Haven't you made a wonderful contribution to the world today? So this is about, the cards are weirdly saying to me that everything you think to be true about yourself, particularly the negative stuff, and the places in your life where you've given up, where you've said, well, everyone has to have a job that they hate. It's just the way we have to live on this planet. Or no one likes the neighborhood they live in. It's just the way it is. You know, those kind of unacceptable things that you've come to accept, you're able to really, they have no power over you anymore with these cards. You're able to break free and to let those controlling ideas just die off. So that's what's left, is someone who's very informed and capable, very willing to build an amazing life. And then the universe says, well, if you're willing, let's give you all the love in the universe, and let's give you that via another human being, first and foremost, or a place and a thing. Okay, so number-wise, let's see, we've got 13 and 4 is 17, and 1 is 18, and 1 is 19, and 1 is 20, and 6 is 26, 2 and 6 is 8, and 8 is strength and power in numerology. So it's the power to leave this past version of you behind, the power to accept that you have grown and you've outgrown, the past incarnation of yourself, and that now the new version is in, and it's time for a new chapter in your life. And then to do something with that. 6, 7, 8, 9, 13, and another 13 is 26, which is 8. Isn't that amazing that we've got two 13s, and 13 is death? So 13, 1 and 3 is 4, that's security and structure, and the death card is the opposite of security and structure. It's that security and structure being pulled away. The fact that we've got it twice is very telling, and especially with these two cards, the structures and securities that you thought were meant to help you, that you created to help, and that have now become prisons, the cards are trying to underline that sentiment, that those things particularly, you're able to get rid of those faulty structures and securities. They don't help you, they just make you smaller. So you're able to get out of those using the number 8, the strength and the self-belief, to then live a life that's freer and more enjoyable and more full of love. Good for you. Okay, so I hope you have an amazing day. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on book your reading to audio reading with me. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and share the video online. Have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.